Hello humans. I'm here on a overcast hot day in Kutch, Gujarat, and I'm working on a natural farming project, and I wanted to document what we're doing here and also keep sharing progress, and hopefully it's successful and people can be inspired by it. I'm going to share all the small details later. I'm just going to give an outline of the overall project right now. If there's some wind noise, etc., I do apologize, but we'll have to make do for now. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So first of all, the plot is on a somewhat main road. So it's a village in India, right? Kutch, Gujarat, India. So this is actually quite a luxury. I'm just going to show it to you now. So this is the road. That's my faithful companion, Missy. She's been with me through thick and thin. And so this is the road, okay? And this is the main entry for the site. Going in here, I'm just going to walk you inside the site now. And everything you see here is part of the plot. It's bounded by the trees, as you can see. The trees are mostly a species called Prosophis juliflora. I don't know exactly how it's pronounced. It's called Gando Baward here locally, which means mad babul. So it's actually an invasive species that's been brought in by the Indian government. I'm going to get into the reasons, and actually it's a very interesting species. So I'm going to get into all that in a later video. But it's invasive and it spreads really fast, and it doesn't let other plants grow around it and so on. So what we're going to do first of all is clear all of these by machine and make a fence with cement posts and wire, because there's a lot of issues about animals coming in and so on. Anyway, so as you can see, this is the land, this is the plot, all the way there, past the machines, all the way to the tree line there. So it's 13 acres in total. And as you can see, it's this is considered a semi-arid region, and there's a lot of sand. But this particular plot, if you have a look, you see this stuff here, the cracks and so on. This is clay, very hard clay. So this is actually not that good for farming on. We're going to work on it and develop it more. I'll talk about that later. But anyway, this is the plot. This is just the entry. I'm going to keep showing you more of it when we get inside. So what I wanted to talk about was how we're going to manage the irrigation for this place. So all the farms around have been digging bore wells, and the water that comes in the bore wells is generally pretty saline. Okay, so it's got a lot of dissolved salts and minerals and so on. So it's difficult to farm with that kind of water. But at deeper levels, at around 350, 400 feet, we're getting sweet water. However, the history is that, the trend rather, is that even if you do get sweet water right now, 2 or 3 or 5 years down the line, that water is turning saline as well because of overexploitation and lack of arrangements to percolate rainfall into the soil. So the issue here is, like, if you look at this land, I'm going to put it back here, that any rainfall that falls here, and this is the case on all the farms and everywhere all around, okay? So any rainfall that falls here doesn't have any place where it's stopped and given time to sink into the soil. So it just goes straight off the property like that. And it takes the topsoil with it. So the groundwater is not charged, and the wells are turning saline in a few years, if at all you do get usable water at the present moment. So, as I might have said before, this is a natural farming project. So we're going to use rainwater. And I'm going to describe in this video why this particular plot is ideally suited for this kind of project, okay? So, first of all, as I showed you, there are a lot of regions, actually most of this plot is clay topsoil. So around 1.5 feet of topsoil is clay. All right. So as you might know, clay actually holds water. That's part of the reason why it's not good for farming, because it floods the crops and the roots don't get oxygen and they die. All right, and it's a very, very, very difficult thing to overcome. So anyway, so according to permaculture and all these kind of principles, we have to take something that's a challenge or a problem or an obstacle and use it to our benefit, which is what we're going to do here. Okay, so we're going to use this clay to actually hold water, hold the rainwater that accumulates on this property, as I'll show you in a second. I just wanted to show you. So now we're walking through a sandy bit. So wherever you see sand here is where water has flowed over the property and taken all the other types of soil with it and left the sand behind. So I'm just going to show you. So this is the sandy part. As you can see, this is all sand. This is actually better than clay for farming on, because it lets the roots grow and so on. But still not ideal. We're going to work on it, and I'll describe later in a later video how we're going to do that. So for now, like, the main thing I want to show you guys is, and why this plot is so ideal for the plan I'm about to describe, is that there's a seasonal river flowing pretty much through the property, like right by it, and there's inlets where the river actually gets into the property, which is where you saw all the sandy bits. So I'm going to show you the river now. We'll climb into it in a second. So this is the river. This is the boundary with the invasive species, Prosophis juliflora, etc. And this is the sandy stuff you see here. That's the river flowing through here. So as I said, any rainfall that falls in this region isn't actually allowed to percolate into the ground. From all regions all around, it just finds like the lowest spot and flows off. So this is one of those spots, the river. And just wanted to mention that this plot is actually quite close to the sea. So it's one of the end parts of the river. So all the water that accumulates upstream all comes down here. I love this place, you know, like this is my native place. I don't know, I just love the vibe here, the energy and so on. There's lots of issues and things, but I just love being here. So anyway, this video is going to be a little bit long because I don't want to spend too much time editing and so on. So please just bear with me. I'll try to like fill in the gaps with some blah blah. Hopefully it'll be informative. Here comes. She's not handling the heat too well, obviously. But she was born on a farm in Nashik in the summer, so she'll be okay, don't worry. I'm keeping her well hydrated and so on. Alright, so I wanted to just climb down into the river and just show you what's up with that, what it looks like. Here it is. Missy knows. And there's quite a bit of wildlife around here, like birds and all kinds of critters and things. It's very nice. Okay, anyway, so here's the river channel, and unfortunately there's some illegal sand mining going on here. So they're actually deepening the channel, which is going to be a bit harmful for what I'm about to describe, but we'll make do. And there it goes to the sea. Okay, so that's that. That's the river. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. If you guys want some more information on it, let me know, and I'll gladly provide. Okay, so how does this river help us? When there's any decent amount of rainfall, even for a single day, say like 5 inches of rainfall or 4 inches, which does happen in Kutch. I mean, in the season it should happen at least on 1 or 2 days, even if there's a couple of months gap or anything like that. So when there's that much rainfall, the river fills up and washes all the water into the sea, as I was saying before. Now, there's a natural inlet into the property from the river. So when it overflows, or when it's at a good level, the water actually comes in. If you can see here, this is where the water actually comes into the property, and that's what's created all these sandy bits. This is a nice neem tree, by the way, right in the middle. For some stupid reason, they've been chopping it off and not letting it make a good canopy, which is dumb because it's absolutely amazing for shade. And this is another one of the inlets that I was talking about. They've tried to fill it up and so on, but really that never lasts. If the river does flood, all this stuff will be washed away. Okay, so that's that. And now we're at the northern boundary of it. I'm gonna just do a panorama of the site from this point. So everything here till the tree line is all part of the plot. This is back to the neem tree now, and this is the river. Okay. So another feature here. So we've established that water from the river naturally wants to get into the. Okay. So this normally again would be a problem for the farmers, but we're going to use that to our advantage. Right. I'm going to describe in just a second how we do that. Now, from the farms around, see, first of all, this is the northern part again, and the slope is that way. All right, from where we came into the site, where the road is, the slope is that way. So from all the farms all around, when it does rain, and this time even a little bit of rain, water flows from these farms onto this property naturally. Okay, and this is one of the channels, if you can see. All right, and what happens is, we're going to walk down here, we're going to follow the path of the water. So, yeah. Okay. So the water flows down here, and it's created a natural depression, which, because of the clay soil, I'm assuming, would also hold water. And obviously you see the machines here are a bit of a spoiler, but we're going to collect the water from the outflows from the other farms, as well as the inlet from the river. We're going to use this stuff to actually fill up a lake or a pond, a farm pond that we're building. That's what the machines are doing right now. So the machine to the right, the yellow one, is called a JCB. The one to the left or towards us is a tractor with a trolley. He's digging sand from out of the hole and loading it into the tractor, and we're using that sand for now, this bit of sand, to make a road. Again, if the topsoil is clay and it rains, it becomes mucky, and that's no fun for anyone. So this is the road that we're making using the sand. I don't know how clearly you can see that, but that's the beginning of our road, all the way there. And where it touches that main road that I showed you, we're going to make a gate. But this is the northern side again, and it's just a straight road running through the property. Actually, this was a cattle path. Again, so we're leveraging things that nature wants to do already. And this is that natural depression I was talking about. If you see the color of the soil here, it's much darker. And that's because of the clay. So I'm going to show you the striations of the soil as well. You can see right here and everywhere. That's a good spot. I'm going to try to zoom in a bit. That's too much. Okay, so hopefully you can see that the top, just ignoring the part that's been dug up, the top 1 foot or so, 1.5 feet, is a different color than down there. Like this, if you see the center of the screen, this part is a different color than that. So basically the darker part is clay, and underneath that it's all sand, as you can see. Alright, sand will be useful as well. I'll describe it in a later video. I'm not going to get into it too much just now. But what we're really interested in is the clay. So we're taking the clay bits and keeping it to a side, and we're collecting it in piles like this. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to excavate this pond. The total size is around 70 or 75 feet by 75 feet square, and around 10 to 11 feet deep. Once it's excavated, it's not going to hold water, right? Because as you can see down here, it's all sand. Interestingly, while digging, we found areas where the sand was still wet, and this is like peak summer. So not wet, just a little bit damp. But that's very interesting. It means there's something underneath all this that is retaining water, which is a good sign. Anyway, coming back to the topic, so all this clay that we're getting from the top soil, this stuff here, once the hole is dug, we're going to actually put it back in. And I just want to say that the slopes of the lake walls are going to be very gradual, okay? They're not going to be steep, they're going to be very gradual, as you would see in a natural pond or lake. So what's going to happen is, the rainwater will come in from the river, from the other farms and so on, collect in this hole, and the clay will actually retain the water for us. So it's going to be a massive, pretty massive lake, 75 by 75 feet pond, sorry. And we're going to have all that water to stretch our agricultural season a lot. So, so far people have been conducting agriculture here using the rainwater that falls naturally. So we'll be able to extend the farming season a lot, and we'll see how far we can stretch it. I'm assuming that there should be water in the pond till January at least, and using that we should be able to stretch the growing season till March or so, and we can leave the last couple of summer months just before the rains. We can leave most of the land fallow, that's fine. Yeah, so that's the plan. So collect all the water that naturally wants to come in and enhance it, making canals and so on. Enhance the water collection and collect all the water in the lake, in the pond, sorry. And then use it for agriculture. This is the little tent. I need to work on it a bit, but it's okay for now. It gives Missy shade at least. And again, this is the road that we're making. It's not exactly related to what I'm talking about, but I want to mention this because it's very important. So the way we're going to actually plant crops is as follows. I'm just going to draw it in the sand because I'm next to like that. We're going to dig trenches like this, and the dirt that comes up from the trench digging, we're going to put it on one side like that. Okay, forget this. We're going to put it on one side like this. Okay. So first of all, any rain that falls on the property will fill up the trenches and have time to slowly sink into the soil. And because we're going to dig the trench and the top clay layer is only a foot, it's going to actually hit the sandy bit and be able to percolate into the soil. Okay. Now on this side where we've piled up the soil, we're going to plant trees on this side. Okay. And on this side we're going to plant the normal crops. I'll get into the exact selection of the trees and crops and all later. I just want to mention that the main tree is going to be moringa, aka drumsticks. Locally it's called Saragwani Singh. Just letting the tractor go by. Alright, and we're going to use the same trench structure to actually irrigate as well. So when we do want to irrigate, we'll fill up these same trenches with water and it'll irrigate the adjoining areas. Okay. Now the trenches are perpendicular to the slope like this. Okay, so if the slope is going this way, the trenches are dug perpendicular to it, and we're going to have them 16 feet apart. That'll let if we have to put any tractors or things through, it'll let us do that, and it'll give the moringa trees enough room for canopy, and these trees will actually shade and protect the crops underneath, and it has like a ton of benefits which I'll get into later. But I just wanted to say that this is how this is the planting scheme and how we're going to irrigate it and so on. Obviously we'll have to put an electrical or a diesel pump in the pond to draw water, but we're not going to use any plastic pipes or anything like that. No plastic, no drip. It's going to be absolutely natural. Okay, so we're going to use these trenches to actually irrigate. Basically there'll be a main irrigation channel like this. Say this is the pond that we dug. There's going to be a main irrigation channel going through like that and filling up these guys. And in the summer months, if there's no water in the pond, and at that point the main priority will be protecting the trees, If we're not able to grow any crops in the middle, that's okay. But the trees growing here need to be protected because they're our main security and main source of income, actually. So in that case, we'll get water by tankers and hand water them, the trees, and keep them alive for a couple of months. And yeah, so this is the main plan, and hopefully you enjoyed that, and hopefully it piqued your interest. Do share your thoughts in the comments and so on. I don't want any comments about my wardrobe or how I look and stuff like that. I mean, that's completely irrelevant, alright? Not trying to win any fashion contest here or anything. So yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about this. It's the second day of work. The first day was a little bit shaky, as it usually is, but now these guys know exactly what. And the JCB driver, the yellow machine, he's absolutely thugged out. He's a good guy. And I wanted to introduce you to one of the tractor drivers. He's the son of like our main man here. His name is Saddam and his father's name is Hussein. So he's Saddam Hussein. Anyway, so, and there's Missy. I keep trying to convince her to get into the shade properly, but I don't know. She doesn't want to do that. But she's okay. She's got some shade from the trees here and it's pretty overcast. And I've kept her water. I'll just show you a little bit. Hi, Missy. At least give me a tail wag, dude. Missy. Alright, she's not a huge fan of all this, as you can see. But she's alright, don't worry. So that's her water right there. And it's a nice shady bit for her to sit if it does get a bit sunny. So anyway, this has been 21-minute long video. I'm gonna sign off now. And I'll see you later. Bye.